And just like that, we are back. Yes, welcome back to another video where today we're going to be predicting the scores of week 2 of this 2024-2025 Premier League season. Last week, Nathan, we didn't do too good in the Superbru League. I only got 5.5 points. You did a little bit better than me. You came away with 7 points. Later on in this video, I'll be displaying the full leaderboard on the screen. But of course, we only played 1 week. This week, we've got another 10 exciting matches to predict. So without further ado, let's make the predictions.
Starting off with a midday kickoff on TNT, we got Brighton up against Manchester United. Now Brighton coming away with a very good 3-0 win away at Everton. Everton did get the front foot, but that goal was disallowed, and then Brighton just overloading them in the second half. Man United scraping past Fulham in the end, wasn't it? Xerxes goal. Where do I go with this one? Difficult to say, because I could see both teams winning this, especially at Brighton as well. But based on what I saw, how Manchester United played, and obviously they got the new transfers coming in, it's just hard to make out how good Brighton were at the moment just because of the Everton collapse. So I'm going to go 2-1 Man United.
Yeah, this is a very difficult one to predict. Manchester United getting those 3 points straight out of the traps of the season, but so did Brighton, and I was fairly surprised that they came away with a convincing scoreline in this one. Both sides have got injuries. For Brighton, I think they've got 7. Both of these teams got 7, but Solly Marsh, Evan Ferguson, Stupinan and Lamperty for Brighton. For Man United, like Yarrow, Hoyland, Luke Shaw, like Sancho as well, are all out. Last season, I think this was the last home match for Brighton last time out. Man United came away with a 2-0 victory. In this one, in front of I think it is a sellout, this match down there at the Amex. Crowd will be well up for this, especially after that victory, comprehensive victory over Everton. I think it's going to be tight. Man United decent, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next up, we've got the first of the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday. We've got Crystal Palace coming up against West Ham. Crystal Palace losing away against Brentford in that London affair last weekend. I think Eze had the most shots on target in the Premier League for game week 1 with 7. West Ham could only muster 3 shots on target all game in their defeat against Aston Villa in the London Stadium last weekend. So this one, there was goals galore in the fixture last season. It ended 5-2 to Crystal Palace. I think it'll be a lot tighter this time out, especially with the new recruits coming into West Ham, but they are going to take a little time to bed in. So, all things considered, first game of the season at home, I'm going to go for a Palace win, 2-1.
Interesting. I'm actually going to go the other way, just because of the way that West Ham played against Aston Villa. At the end of the day, there was no way that they were going to beat them in the end. It was close, but both teams looked absolutely brilliant in that one.
I think Villa could have won that match by a lot more than they had.
They could have, definitely.
On the front foot quite a bit.
They were, but then again, both teams were absolutely excellent. And whereas Palace, I do like what they're doing under Glasner. It's just, wrong opponent at the wrong time against West Ham, so 2-1. Anyway, moving on, we've got Fulham up against Leicester. Now, Fulham narrowly losing last time around to Manchester United in the dying embers of the game, and Jamie Vardy saves Leicester again after Spurs just fell apart in the second half. First half, they looked very shaky. I think it's going to be more the same here as well. Not sure what to make of Fulham at the moment. Probably going to be a slow start to the season, so 1-1.
For me, Nathan, this match going to be very, very tight. Jamie Vardy, as you say, saving Leicester's skins against Spurs, where they could have got hammered in that game, but in the end, they could be unfortunate they didn't win the match themselves. Jamie Vardy, I think it was a half-time, he downed a Red Bull, didn't he? Came on and gave him some wings and got on the score sheet. For Fulham, narrowly missing or losing against Manchester United, and they look fairly decent, little bit toothless in front of goals. So, but at home, Leicester, they were all right. So I'm going to go for a Fulham 1-0 victory in this one. Next up, we've got Manchester City coming up against Ipswich. Manchester City, I thought they made a little bit of heavy work in that match against Chelsea, although Chelsea didn't look that great either, did they? Ipswich did well initially against Liverpool, plenty of energy, but they kind of ran out of steam the longer that match wore on, and it was Liverpool who took the spoils in the end. So I think Man City going to take all 3 points in this one. Ipswich bringing a lot of new players in now. They're going to take a little time to come in. Gundogan could be coming back to Manchester City as well. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 home victory to Man City. And what a goal that was by Kovacic.
Oh, it was brilliant right at the end as well. But I think in this one, Ipswich just couldn't have any harder start to the season than this, could they? Showed a lot of promise against Liverpool, to be fair. And that's why I'm only going to keep it to 2-0 Manchester City. But we're going to start to see a lot of points going on the board from Ipswich very, very soon. But aside from that, moving on, Southampton up against Nottingham Forest next. Forest getting that solid 1-1 draw against Bournemouth. Pretty neck and neck throughout the whole game, wasn't it? Sort of going to be floating around the same position as Bournemouth, I think, even though I put Bournemouth quite high up. Southampton wasn't really impressed by them last time around against Newcastle. All the diving antics from Ben Barrett and Diaz, wasn't it? That was just embarrassing. But yeah, I think Forest are going to edge this one just 2-1 right at the end.
Yeah, I think Nottingham Forest will edge this one as well. I thought actually Southampton were very impressive against Newcastle. It was just when they were in front of goal. I think Barrett and Diaz had a couple of decent chances, didn't put them away. Adam Armstrong was peppering that Newcastle goal as well.
Way too much passing around.
Of course, Newcastle had a player sent off, but I think they were down to 10 men as well when they actually scored that goal from Joe Linton. Yeah, a little bit toothless in front of goal, even though I thought Southampton played well. Forest, they had a load of chances themselves in that draw against Bournemouth, and really they should have been looking to get 3 points in that one. So this one, I don't know, I was thinking Southampton could get something out of this game, but I am going to go for a Nottingham Forest victory because it's just the pace going forward for Forest, which is going to upset the Saints. So 2-1 to Forest for me. Then we move on to Spurs against Everton. Now Spurs should really have had a hatful in that draw against Leicester.
They were brilliant in the first half.
They were, and as it wore on, they were a little bit exposed at the back from Leicester City. Everton, goal disallowed, a penalty appeal which wasn't a penalty in a million years. Yeah, didn't really impress me. Spurs at home, though, should wrap up all 3 points in this one. I think they're going to get a couple here, so I'm going to go for a 2-0 home victory to Spurs. And in that draw against Leicester, Solanke had a couple of chances and really should have buried one of them, but it wasn't to be. 2-0 for me here.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 to Spurs as well. Home should be winning at Everton. They just absolutely collapsed after that disallowed goal. And everything else, the penalty shout. Yeah, I wrong time to play Spurs, especially after that second half performance. Postecoglou's going to have a firing, so 2-0. Moving on to 5:30 on Sky, Aston Villa up against Arsenal. Now, this is a tasty one, isn't it? Aston Villa looking extremely good up against West Ham. And then Arsenal took their very good dispatching of Wolves very well, 2-0 as well. So where do I go with this one? Villa starting off at home. They don't have European football just yet, so I think they're going to grind out another result, 1-1.
Yeah, both of these sides last weekend going forward look really dangerous.
Yeah.
Arsenal should have had a few more goals than they did. Havertz getting on the score sheet, Saka as well, looking really dangerous. I think Martinelli should have had one, and they're just missing their chances in front of goal. Maybe that's a little bit of rustiness there for them. And Villa really could have scored a few more goals themselves. So in this one, will Arsenal concede? They could have done in Wolves. I think Wolves could count themselves unlucky with one or two of their shots. But I think the Gunners are going to come through this one. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. And really, these are the games, against top-end sides, all of the sides. Because dropping points in the Premier League now when you're at the top of the table can have a massive effect come the end of the season, especially if you're up against the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to the Gunners. Moving on, we go to Sunday, 2 o'clock, where Bournemouth face Newcastle. Now, Newcastle, they ground out that 1-0 victory against Southampton with 10 men. So be looking to follow that up here against Bournemouth. Bournemouth getting a draw against Nottingham Forest away. So they'll be looking at that as a positive point away to Forest. Here, though, I think they're going to cancel each other out. I wasn't wholly convinced with Newcastle. Okay, defensively, they looked all right. So Bournemouth look quite confident. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here.
Yeah, I'm just going to edge it to Newcastle. Both teams looking confident. Newcastle obviously had their flaws against Southampton, but did look really dangerous in areas. So I think I'm just going to edge it in that way. And obviously Eddie Howe going back to Dean Court, isn't it? So he's going to pick up some points there. Yeah, let's edge it 2-1. Next up, another at 2 o'clock on Sky. Wolves up against Chelsea. Chelsea looked absolutely diabolical. Squad list ridiculous. Controversy with obviously the Raheem Sterling squad number situation with Pedro Neto as well. Just keeps getting worse and worse and worse there. And then you're coming up against a Wolves side who have obviously dropped confidence from that loss last week to Arsenal as well. Difficult start to the season. But at home, I think there's just too many problems going on at Stamford Bridge at the moment. So I'm going to give it Wolves 2, Chelsea 1.
Wow, that would be a shock. Chelsea, like a revolving door there at Stamford Bridge. Conor Gallagher, I think it's been confirmed now
he's gone,
that he's gone Atletico Madrid. João Felix has come in the door.
Stupid.
Yeah, there's just a lot of players, and I think we said last week and in the preview to the season that Maresca really needs to find the right blend, the right personnel, either for the teams they're playing against or throughout the season, because they need to get some sort of settled side, and keeping them all happy will be difficult. But I think the talent on display, and Wolves, I wasn't convinced last time out at all. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Chelsea in this one. It ended 2-1 to Wolves last season. And the final fixture of this game week takes place at 4:30 on Sunday, so no Monday night football this weekend. We've got Liverpool coming up against Brentford. Brentford with an excellent 2-1 victory against Crystal Palace, looking decent going forward. And that was, we have out Ivan Toney and their new signing, Igor Thiago Eva. So we're still getting on the score sheet, and Bueno, as they did countless times last season. So Liverpool, a little bit of a slow start against Ipswich, but in the end the class came through and could have scored a lot more than the 2 goals in the end. So I'm going to go for, in this one, I think they'll get one more goal in this one, but I think they will concede. A little bit suspect in defence for Liverpool, and not convinced with their central defensive partnership at the moment, because
it's a bit
they sort of chopped and changed their defenders at half-time last weekend. So I'm going to go for 3-1 victory to the Reds.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3 goals as well to Liverpool, but I actually think they're going to keep a clean sheet in this one. I think all of the problems that were especially exposed against Ipswich, I can't see Brentford replicating. And also, Arne Slot's going to tape all that up as well. So it's going to be pretty convincing. Let's go 3-0.
3-0. Fantastic. So those are our predictions for game week 2. As I said earlier in the video, top scorer from last week was Redmat 215. Now, Redmat came away with 3 perfect scores, closely followed by Obsidian, who actually got 4 perfect scores, but Obsidian's on 17 points and Redmat 215 is on 19.5 points and is the early leader, and we've got a little bit of catching up to do, and so have you guys. And if you'd like to play along at home and you haven't already registered on the Superbru website, then all the details are in the description. So Nathan, before we go, is there anything you'd like to add?
South Wales Derby, don't you dare lose.
Massive game Sunday, should say 3 o'clock, live on Sky. So if you like the Championship, then please tune into that, and hopefully Cardiff will get a positive result at the Swancombe Stadium, whatever it's called these days. But thanks for joining us once again. Leave your predictions as a comment or over at the Superbru website, and we'll see you all again next week for game week 3.
I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling, bitch I'm humbling, keep mumbling, I'll keep doubling, you keep bluffing, you've got nothing, I'll keep hustling.